Actually, not in his case because he's a foul man.
When we say influence, that realistically, just to break this down, influence is getting people to try and be like you, to think about the things that you like, and basically
has an impact.
I think, and you can coin that in people copying that person more and more. Like I feel like, and that's what I judge that on.
That's
Real influence is you want to be that person almost.
That's interesting.
So they like something. On it.
Because if you judge it like that, you could say socially you've got people like Kanye West who influence music,
and clothes,
and all those sorts of things,
and politics.
Do you know what it is though?
Politics in a way.
Kanye is a shout because the thing is, a lot of the other people we're going to name will have one avenue, but he's conquered like music and fashion, and then everything he says politically is also listened to as well. So he's a classic example of probably one of the front runners in this.
Yeah,
and he's also someone who looked at the previously influential people and took influence from them. So he says, I want to be the Steve Jobs of music. I want to be the Walt Disney of music. Those people were influential. Steve Jobs is like a weird one though, because he was influential. He got the iPod, the iPhone. He rebooted Apple, but he also affected the world in that he re-established the connection with bringing the laptops and the computers over from China, getting them produced there, and made these big like mega factories over there, and maybe badly influenced their lifestyle, whereas people in the West were influenced in a positive way.
Didn't know that.
I heard in California, made in China.
I heard a story about him though. He used to treat his work as badly, didn't he?
I think he's one of those guys who doesn't.
The Mike Ashley of America.
I'm not sure if he's.
Did he hear about Mike Ashley lately?
What did Mike do?
He's shut down House of Fraser.
What?
In the Metro Centre. It's like
Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
Something that he had a big hand in making is now in our hands pretty much.
Yeah.
Everyone has got one. That's massive influence. Most people plan their whole fucking lives using that thing. That is the definition of influence, isn't it?
And he also he was one of the men who were at the forefront of productizing tech, because before that Microsoft were very good at doing like Office stuff, but they weren't very good at making mainstream like normal people things. He made the iPhone like something that everyone wanted. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Bill Gates.
Do you know what's sad? Kim Kardashian's got to be up there in the top 10 without a doubt.
Why do you think that's sad?
She's the one who's basically made majority of the young people today, especially women, that your life has to almost look like a TV show. Like when you put out on Instagram, it has to look a certain way. They dress differently because of her. They put themselves across. She's made it more socially acceptable to like look like.
I feel like she's made people more insecure.
But she's made it more acceptable for you to show a lot more of your body off and not be looked down upon because it's.
But in a way, that's still influence, though.
Of course it is. She's,
you know what I mean?
She's top 10 without a doubt.
But she's good in business, though.
Yeah.
I wonder where you were going with that.
I mean, that is a total. There's such little real evidence to back up.
Well, he's the face of
I
it,
guess
isn't he?
he's the face of it. So what he represents is it's the same as saying Kim Kardashian. You could say the big corporate faces behind Kim Kardashian were the people who made it happen. The E! Network, those people were. She's just the face that they use, like a disposable face. He's the disposable face of mass political change in the West, where it becomes, we suddenly are always worried about terrorism. The amount of people who say that movies changed post 9/11, post the time when it was the face of that.
Yeah.
That influenced everything in society. We went from having these chintzy Hollywood movies where there's not very much paranoia, there's nothing about attacks, anything like that. Suddenly we're into the era of DC Comics, all these kind of Marvel things. We need heroes to fight things, we need all that kind of stuff. That's a massive social wave that was caused by one big attack, which that changed a cultural shift in the way we think about the rest of the world around us. And politicians jumped on that, culture jumped on that. Osama bin Laden was the biggest hunt, the number one most wanted man in the world for a decade, if not longer.
But to me, that was a new wave of it was a throwback to the 50s, 40s, and that where reaction would be demanded by the public, whereas for a long time it had been like, no, let's not do anything in terms of going to war unless it's absolutely necessary. And that brought about a much more
interventionist idea again.
From the public, where we're demanding something must be done about.
What I did find weird was that Britain demanded something was done after. There were the people
Well,
who
Tony Blair did, yeah.
yeah.
Of
Of
the
the
21st
21st
You don't really come with
century,
Bin
you'd say
Laden, right?
9/11.
Are we, I thought we were going for biggest, most
and
influential
then
person.
who's responsible for that?
I've got one. You've got the names. I don't know who
we're
they
we're
are.
literally
I'd say
turning
Bush.
into a conspiracy podcast.
Here we go.
I'd-
Here we go. I've got a good one here. The men who invented Google.
Should we just go for one name? Go.
I
Most
think-
influential. Go on, Cam.
We'll go with Kanye.
There you go.
Wow, that's an interesting one.
Go
In
on.
the past 2000.
I mean, to be fair to him, his first album came out in the 2000s. So
Shag him then.
I'm gonna
Shagadelic, baby.
Oh, could you go Austin Powers?
So Dr. Evil had more of it.
I do. Oh, you see, I was going to put forward movie directors, but I'm going to go Steve Jobs. I think Steve Jobs is fundamentally
Okay.
put together most valuable
Fair
company
point.
in the world. Changed the way that we're all looking at our phones. Fundamentally changed the way that we consume stuff. Like,
Just a name, Lawrence.
What about you, Stephen?
I was thinking George Bush, a president probably. So
do you think George Bush is more influential than
after
than-
9/11,
You fooled me
and
once.
causing Iraq.
You ain't gonna fool me again.
The way he dodged those shoes when he got
Yeah.
thrown, that was.
Tell you what, you would have been a good boxer.
George Bush did have some good lines. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, fool me twice. You can't fool me twice. That was one of my
No,
favourite
you said
lines.
you ain't gonna fool me again.
No, he says fool me twice. He gets like really tied up in it, doesn't he?
You fool me, we can't get fooled again.
He goes, fool me twice. You can't fool
I'm
me
right.
twice.
I think
right.
I think
I'm
Trump's
right.
going to get kicked out before he can properly influence. Like,
Do you know who
he
the
won't-
biggest letdown for me?